Now let's go ahead and apply some of what we learned on a practical example. We're gonna create this 3D barrel. So let's do it. I'm gonna start creating a cylinder. So let's go ahead to cylinder and let's go ahead and reset everything. And I'm gonna place the cylinder there, and let's set the XYZ to 0 to 0 to center it on the 0 0 0. So before I click accept, I need to come to the height, and I'm gonna change this one to maybe 70 and this one to about 30. We can change the height, let's set it to 80. Let's go ahead to the wireframe, and I'm gonna set the radial slices to 12. It's 16, so let's set that to 12. Now we have 12 sides. And for the height subdivision, I'm gonna set that 3. And then I think this is all what we need for now. So let's go ahead and click on accept. So now if I go ahead to the model and if I click on polygroup, so you can see I can select the loops, right? But I want to select it vertically. So if you go to the attributes and if you go to generate polygroups, and if I set that to face normal deviation, basically this will create a polygroup for the faces that facing their normal. So now if I hit accept, and if I go back to the model and click on polygroup, so you can see now I can select those. And maybe you didn't see that in the wireframe, so let's go to unlit and do it again. Let's click on generate polygroup, so you can see we have different color for each face. So let's go back to the model and I'm gonna click on the polygroup, and first of all I'm gonna delete this face. Let's delete this one, and I'm gonna delete the bottom one too. And now I'm gonna select the vertices. So here I can filter them. So if you click just on the vertex, and now if I select, I can select just the vertices. And now I'm gonna scale it. So let's go ahead and scale it down. I see we have an issue. So the entire vertices are scaled with it. So this is because of the polygroups. So that's not a problem. We can fix that by going to the mesh, and I'm gonna click on triangle edit. So now I can edit the triangles, but we're gonna use the triangle edit to scale the vertices. So now if I scale them, so you can see the other vertices are not affected. And let's go ahead and do that to the bottom too. So let's go ahead and scale it down just a little bit. And for these vertices, I'm gonna move it up like that, and those I'm gonna move them down, something like that. So now let's go ahead and hit accept, and you will notice we don't see the inside of the mesh because we need to create the material. So let's go ahead and create a material. Let's call it M barrel. Let's dive inside. I'm gonna hit 3 and click somewhere to create the color, and let's set it to white. Hit accept, save. Before we hit the save, we need to go ahead and check on two-sided, and now save it. And now let's go ahead and apply it there. And now the problem is the 3D model is looking very flat. So if I go to lit, as you see, we don't have any light. So let's go ahead and create the lights too. So you can go to window and then click on environment light mixer. This is the easiest way to create the lights. We're gonna click on create skylight, atmospheric, and sky atmospheric. And here we have the light. Very easy. I like to move the icons far away, or you can hit G on the keyboard, but the problem when I hit the G, the manipulator is gone too. So let's go ahead and select them and move it aside. Maybe let's set this one to 5000 to move it away from the viewport, and this one to 5000 because I don't want to see it, and this one to 5002. So now I want to go again to model and polygroup, and let's go ahead and select the face. So I'm gonna select the first face and I wanna disconnect that. So if you select that and come over here, if you click on disconnect, now the face is separated. The reason is I am going to separate them because I wanna extrude them. So let's go ahead and select the next one, disconnect. Unfortunately, you can't select everything and disconnect it because it will not work. So you need to select them each one. So disconnect, disconnect, and disconnect, disconnect, disconnect. Let's see. We need to disconnect this one too. Disconnect. And here we have them. So now I can select all of them, all the faces. As you see, the priority is for the selection of the vertices. So let's go ahead and click on that and on the edge. And now if I select, I can select just the faces or the polygroups. And now you can extrude them, or you can click on push pull. So the difference is when you click on the push and pull, if you want to extrude them inside, this is not gonna work. So as you see, it's turning red. Basically, it's cutting the surfaces. But if you want to extrude them inside, you need to click on extrude. So now you can see you can extrude them inside. But I'm gonna use the push pull because I want to extrude them outside. I'm gonna reset everything. So as you see, when I extrude them, we have some gap between them. I don't want that, so I can come over here and click on vertex normal. So now, as you see, they are stick together, but they are separated. So let's go ahead and extrude them something like this thickness. Or you can come over here and change that to fixed, and you can type the number here if you wanted to. And click on accept. And now I like to go ahead and select the vertices there. We need to turn on the selection filter. So if I go to the left view, so as you see, they are not on the same level. So that's why I want to scale them on Z to match the vertices. So now they are on the same level. Let's go back to perspective, and we can do that for the bottom area too. Let's go ahead to left maybe, and we need to scale it. Now it's flat. So let's go to perspective, hit accept. And now if I go again to polygroup and select everything, let's go ahead again, we need to select just the faces. And now if I click on bevel and go ahead and change that, let's see. I don't know why we don't see the result. Let's do it again. Maybe select them, select everything, and click again on bevel, faces. Let's go ahead and select the edges. Everything, and click on bevel again, bevel edge. And now it's working. It should work on the faces too, but I don't know. Maybe we have some issues because I tried that before and it worked. Okay, great. and hit accept. So now let's go ahead and create the rings. We can create that by creating a torus, place it somewhere there, and you can control the radius from here. Let's set that to 0, 0 by 0 and move it up. Increase the radius. Let's set the minor radius to 2, and the division I'm gonna set that to 12 because we have 12 sides, as you remember when we created the barrel. And for the size you can set that to 6 or 4, doesn't matter. And now we can just control the radius to match the radius of the barrel. Let's set that to 40, maybe 37, right? And move it up. And now we can duplicate that. Before I duplicate that, I wanna make it flat from the side. So let's go ahead and select the polygroup, and maybe we can go to the left and select all those vertices. Let's go ahead and select just the vertex. So let's select them all. And now in the perspective, I can scale them down a little bit just to make it flat. It's up to you, you can leave it like that too. Nice. And now we can duplicate that holding Alt and move it down. And now we can go to create and click on disk. Let's place it somewhere there and move it up. Let's set this one to 0 by 0, and let's go ahead and decrease the radius, maybe 30. After hitting accept, you need to hold Alt to duplicate that. Let's see, and move it down. We don't see the face because we need to apply this material on it. We need to go ahead and apply it from here, apply it on this one. Let's go ahead and apply it on this one, and let's bring that back there to 0. Let's create the cap here. We can create a cylinder and place it on top of that. And let's go ahead and set the radius maybe to 8, and this one maybe to 10, 3, and let's set the radius maybe to 4 and decrease the height maybe 1.5. Hit accept. Let's move it aside a little bit. I downloaded few materials from Megascans, so you can see we have the metal. Let's drag and drop it there, and we have the wood. You can go to add and click on add Quixel content. You can download it from here. You can just type wood. You can click on surface and type here wood, and you can choose any material you want. After you choose the material, you need to click on download, and after the download finished, you need to click on add, and this will create the folder of the Megascan for you. So let's see, drag it there and drag the metal here too. So in the next lesson we're gonna continue.